It was once the symbol of global expansion. In the early 2000s, you couldn't walk 3 blocks in a major city without seeing that yellow and green arrow. Subway wasn't just a sandwich shop, it was the largest restaurant chain on the planet, beating even McDonald's in raw store count. But today, the stores are emptying. The branding feels stale.
For just $3.99.
$3.99?
$3.99? $3.99?
And behind the scenes, a high-stakes war is being fought by private equity giants. How did the world's most successful franchise model turn into a cautionary tale of corporate decay? Subway's genius was never about the bread. It was about the math. Founder Fred DeLuca created the ultimate low barrier to entry franchise. You didn't need a massive commercial kitchen. You didn't need a deep fryer. You just needed a counter, a toaster, and a sandwich artist. It was the perfect business for the aspiring middle-class entrepreneur. When you look at the Subway website, they highlight the franchise fee, $15,000. It sounds incredibly cheap. It's the hook that brings thousands of applicants into the funnel. But that $15,000 is just the admission price to the lobby. The real bill? It starts at $200,000 and can easily climb past $500,000 once you factor in construction, equipment, and local real estate. Here is where the business model really starts to hurt. Subway charges a fee of 12.5% on your gross sales. Not to be mistaken for profit. Unlike a burger, you don't have high-margin items like fries or soda-heavy meals that drive massive profits. You're selling sandwiches which are labor-intensive and ingredient-heavy. Your margins are razor-thin from day one. If you're already struggling, corporate has a final lever, the fresh forward remodel. Every 10 years, you are contractually obligated to update your store to the latest corporate aesthetic. This can run you anywhere from $60,000 to over $200,000. For an owner with declining foot traffic, this isn't an upgrade, it's a debt trap. You are essentially paying for the brand's image, even if your specific location isn't seeing the return. By 2016, Subway had reached its peak. It was everywhere. But here's the problem. When you grow that fast, you lose the one thing a restaurant chain needs to survive: consistency. In New York, the meat was fresh. In a small town in the Midwest, it was questionable. They weren't just selling sandwiches, they were selling locations. If you've ever wondered why there's another Subway restaurant across the street from one, it wasn't a mistake, but a key part of the business model. The restaurants did not have to maintain a minimum distance from each other. Since Subway charged royalties on gross sales rather than net profits, the corporate headquarters had a devious incentive. More branches meant more revenue for them, regardless of how this affected the individual owners. This is what it can quickly look like in Manhattan. Then, the market shifted. A new generation of customers didn't just want fast, they wanted better. Companies like Chipotle and Jersey Mike's proved that fast food didn't have to feel like factory-processed plastic. They introduced transparency, high-quality ingredients, and a modern aesthetic. Subway's response? They doubled down on the past. They kept the $5 footlong promo, which effectively trained customers to devalue the product. By the time they realized they needed a rebrand, they had already spent years cementing their image as the budget option you only chose when you were desperate. In 2021, a lawsuit filed in California claimed that Subway's tuna sandwiches didn't actually contain tuna. The plaintiffs alleged that lab tests found no detectable tuna DNA in the product. Within days, the story exploded across the internet. Memes spread everywhere. Late-night shows joked about it. For a company already struggling with trust, the headline was devastating. Does Subway even sell real tuna? But by then, the damage was already done. Because in the restaurant industry, perception matters as much as reality. Even if the science was inconclusive, millions of customers had already seen the headlines. And once people start questioning what's actually inside the food, it's incredibly hard for a brand to win back that trust. For Subway, the tuna controversy became another symbol of a deeper problem. A brand that had once promised freshness was now constantly being forced to defend its credibility. Subway strongly denied the allegations, calling the claim baseless and insisting that its tuna was simply wild-caught tuna mixed with mayonnaise. And after 2 years of legal battles, the lawsuit was ultimately dropped in 2023. That's when things got messy. In 2023, after years of rumors, Subway sold its soul to the highest bidder, Roark Capital. If that name sounds familiar, it's because they own Arby's, Dunkin', and Buffalo Wild Wings. These aren't restaurateurs, they are masters of operational efficiency. Roark isn't here to make a better sandwich. They are here to squeeze the remaining value out of a dying giant. If you want to understand the current state of war between Subway HQ and its owners, you only need to look at one thing: the Sub Club relaunch. In December 2025, corporate brought back a classic: buy 3 footlongs, get the 4th one free. On the surface, it's a brilliant marketing move to drive traffic. But for the person behind the counter, it was a nightmare. A buy 3, get 1 free deal is effectively a 25% discount on the core product. For a business operating on razor-thin margins, that isn't just a discount, it's a massive hit to profitability. The backlash was instant and unprecedented. More than 5,000 franchise owners, over a quarter of the entire US system, signed a formal petition calling the program financial suicide. They didn't hate the idea of loyalty, they hated the execution. Because corporate allowed customers to stack these rewards on top of other coupons, some owners were essentially giving away free sandwiches without ever seeing a profit from the initial 3 purchases. Corporate initially dismissed the concerns, calling the program a strong start. But the data didn't lie. By February 2026, the pressure became too much to ignore. Subway was forced to announce that, as of April 1st, the buy 3 get 1 stamp system will be dead, replaced by a much less generous, points-based system. Subway is currently in the middle of a massive global consolidation. They're closing thousands of unviable locations in the West and dumping millions into aggressive expansion in Asia and the Middle East, hoping to outrun their reputation. But the core issues remain: menu bloat, aging infrastructure, and a brand that feels like a relic of the 90s. Are they doomed? Maybe not. Private equity has a way of turning assets around, even if it leaves the brand unrecognizable. But one thing is clear: the Subway your parents knew, that ubiquitous, cheap, accessible corner shop, is dying, and it's taking the traditional franchise model down with it. Subway is a perfect case study in the dangers of infinite growth. They scaled until they broke, and now they're paying the price. So, next time you walk past that green arrow, ask yourself, are you eating there because it's the best choice, or because it's just the one that's always been there? What do you think? Is Subway's rebrand genius or desperation? Let me know in the comments. If you want more insights like this on a wide variety of topics, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.